Sally's home in Rome. On a coast, way down by Sally's home. Oh, yes, what we can do. I'm getting a coast, way down by Sally's home. Oh, yes, what we can do. My wife, she texts me back. She say the children when I had a cat. I hurry home. She hit me one lick. I said, the woman, you must see sick. She say, where you been? All week. Who you been with? Besides cause Audrey going losing. Tell me you was switching. I wanna go slow. Way down by Sally so. Oh, yes. Me and you. What we can do? I got it up. Go slow. Way down by Sally so. Oh, yes. Me and you. What we can do? Man, look at man, stack always looking for me, you know. I'm a white sharp. I ain't got no more black clothes in my drawer. She burn up everything. Tell me, say, I ain't getting out no more, no black shoes, black shade. Look here, let me tell you something. Black shoes, black shade. Hiding all inside the dirt. Inspect looking for me, cause my wife put me on a ABB. Black shoes, black shade. Hiding all inside the dirt. Inspect looking for me, cause my wife put me on a ABB. Black shoes, black shade. Hiding all inside the dirt. Inspect looking for me, cause my wife put me on a ABB. Black shoes, black shade. Black shade. Oh, inspect looking for me. Inspect looking for me. ABB. Black shoes, black shade. Black shade. Look at man. Look at ABB. Black shoes. Got me on the ABB. Man, I travel. They put me on the side of that boy. Tell me I can't travel no more. ABB.
This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B in the Bahamas.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madeira Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in on this beautiful Monday afternoon. So, Those of you who are regulars know that every Monday we do a masterclass in these parts on the Constitution. And we are waiting for our professor to arrive. He hasn't gotten to the studio as yet, but once he does, we're going to dive right into that. Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson is the professor who leads us through the Constitution. He has a degree, a law degree in the Constitution. I'm not sure I'm saying that correctly. And he is the go-to man in these parts about anything to do with the Constitution. He knows it inside out and outside in. And I couldn't think of anybody better to lead us through this journey of learning more about the Constitution of the Bahamas. So we're just waiting for a professor to arrive, and then we're going to dive right into it. In the meantime, the telephone numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, or 8010271, 8010271. That last number is also our WhatsApp line, so you can call or text that number. And of course, we are streaming live on Facebook on the official Global 99.5 FM page or the official Michelle Malcolm page on Facebook. You can also find us on YouTube and on Cable Bahamas, channel 974. Okay, so that's how you can make your voices heard or ask any questions you may have to the good professor once he arrives. So we have been for the past several weeks going through the Constitution article by article, line by line, and we're going to continue to do the same. I believe last week we would have completed, I believe, Article 15, and I think we had said that we were going to start Chapter 3. Let me see where we are at while we're waiting for Professor to arrive. Let's see. I'm just scrolling down here. Bear with me as I scroll down through. And for those of you who would like to follow along, you can easily find, Article 15 is the beginning of Chapter 3. You can easily find the Constitution of the Bahamas on online. Just Google Constitution of the Bahamas, and it will come up, and you'll be able to download it to your device, either your smartphone or your iPad or your laptop or whatever you're using. You'll be able to download it directly from online, and that way you'll be able to follow along with us and then continue to refer to it even after our show is over. The whole purpose of doing these shows is to get our people more educated about your rights and responsibilities as it relates to the Constitution of the Bahamas. Far too many of us are walking around having no knowledge of what our rights are, and by extension, our responsibilities, because with all rights, you have responsibilities as well. And so if you don't know what you are entitled to, then it is easy for someone to take advantage of you, or for you to miss out on the benefits of what is rightfully yours. Because if you don't know, then you can't benefit from it. And so that's the whole idea behind us doing these Masterclass Monday shows, because far too many of us really don't have a clue as to what our Constitution affords us. And as a result, we are being taken advantage of. I just think that more and more of us need to know what we are entitled to. Unfortunately, it's not being taught in our schools. And I would like to add my voice to those who are calling for this to be added to the curriculum, because every citizen ought to know what their rights are. And I don't understand why this is not some kind of required part of the curriculum that we're offering to the students of this nation. We ought to know what our rights are. And like I said, if you don't know what those rights are, then you are easy prey. It's easy for me to take advantage of you if you don't know what your rights are. So that's the purpose behind these Masterclass Monday shows, to get people to understand what is available to you, what are your rights, and what are your responsibilities, and why, or make it easier to understand, because I know it's not written in the clearest of language. And so this is why I thought it was best for us to bring in someone like a Professor Thompson to help us to break this down. So he hasn't arrived as yet. We're still waiting for his arrival. If he doesn't get here by a certain time, then we're going to have to sort of redirect the show, because I would not dare try to go through this Constitution and try to explain this on my own. Much of what I am hearing from Professor, I'm learning myself. So we definitely need Professor to be a part of this show. So in the meantime, I'll read a couple of your comments from Facebook. Rose McPhee says, "Hi, Michelle, and welcome to your guests. Mr. Thompson, be honest, Michelle. I'm confused with Constitution. I don't understand it." Most people don't, Rose. Most people don't. And that's why we're doing these shows, to try to bring you some understanding, try to break it down for you in language that is easy to understand, because it wasn't written in the clearest way. And that's just the way legal documents, for some reason, you have to have an interpreter almost to help you to understand what it is that these documents are saying. They make it kind of convoluting. They make it hard to understand. But that's why we have professors like Professor Thompson who can help us to break it down. All right. So I think, was that him arriving? Okay, perfect. He's arrived. So we're just waiting for him to make his way into the studio. And then we are going to dive right in. So Bertha says, the Bahamas doesn't even teach Bahamian history, child. Wait on it. Don't hold your breath. Well, I'm not. And that's why we decided to start doing these shows to give you the education. Come, child professor. Everybody waiting. Everybody. Mom, your professor so dressed up today? What a time. Sit down, professor. Sit down. Sit down in the chair quick before we bring in your camera, because you're too dressed up. I want them to see. I want them to see Professor in all his regalia. Look at here. Look at here. Mr. JQ.
Thank you very much.
We even got the camera close up on Professor today.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. Sorry about my tardiness, but I thought I had started early, and then I look.
Well, I know time change.
So fast,
yeah, time change.
You know, but I apologize. But next month, next week,
yeah,
be early.
All right,
early.
So let's get those notes that we normally get. Did you bring it with you? If not, we'll just have to do it organically.
I think I was looking for the questions, but I can give you what I have.
We can do it organically. We could do it organically. Okay, so I believe we were finished with 15 last week, were we?
No? We got a whole lot.
How far did we get on 15?
We stuck right on property. One aspect of it was that, see, a lot of people that called in,
right,
they had gotten mixed up on what the property and ownership.
Okay.
They got mixed up on that.
Okay.
And I went to great lengths to explain that they kept calling in. Not because someone violates your right means you don't own the property.
Right.
Okay? The thing is that we didn't even cover the first part of the article, which about the creed and the race and the opinions, and every single aspect of that document has to be covered.
Okay.
So let's take it bit by bit, step by step. And when you read it, you got to go reading it today.
Yeah, you can read it again.
But if you want to, yeah.
We can't assume everybody who was there last week is here this week.
Well, okay, fine. But I think what we need to do, as we've been doing in all the shows, take it right from the top. We didn't discuss. It says the rights, freedoms, and privileges belong to every person in the Bahamas. Right?
Okay.
And then it goes to say whatever his race, creed, etc. We didn't explain those points at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
then we come to section A. We should explain each point: life, liberty, whatever.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
let's do that. I can read it again, though.
Yeah, read it
because
again, yeah,
You
if you
can't
want,
assume
yeah.
that everybody would have been a part of the
Yes,
show
ma'am.
last week. Okay, so this is Chapter 3 of the Constitution of the Bahamas, which deals with protection of fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual.
Yes.
Okay, let me read it. Whereas every person in the Bahamas is entitled to the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual, that is to say, has the right, whatever his race, place of origin, political opinions, color, creed, or sex, but subject to respect for the rights and freedoms of others and for the public interest, to each and all of the following, namely life, this is A, life,
Right.
liberty, security of the person, and the protection of the law. B,
Right.
freedom of conscience, of expression, and of assembly and association. And C, protection for the privacy of his home and other property, and from deprivation of property without compensation.
Right.
The subsequent provisions of this chapter shall have effect for the purpose of affording protection to the aforesaid rights and freedoms, subject to such limitations of that protection as are contained in those provisions, being limitations designed to ensure that the enjoyment of the said rights and freedoms by any individual does not prejudice the rights and freedoms of others or the public interest.
Yes.
Okay, that is all of Article 15.
15, right.
Okay,
Now let's take it right from the top.
okay. So, whatever his race, place of origin, political opinions, color, creed, or sex.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Now, it says very plainly in there that every person in the Bahamas, that is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that individual is a visitor, a stranger, on whatever, every person in the Bahamas, whatever his race is, the color of his skin,
Mm-hmm.
you know, people still having a fight over that today, you know,
Mm-hmm.
people's skin pigmentation, his creed, what he believes in, his religion, his political opinions. Of course, you know, in the Bahamas, we don't like strangers, foreigners, and aliens getting into our political system.
Right.
Okay, 'cause that creates a problem, so let him keep that to himself. Sex. In the meaning of our Constitution,
Mm-hmm.
male and female. In fact, in the preamble, it says every person, every man, woman, boy, every man, woman, or child. Child means boy and girl.
Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Sex in the context of our Constitution means male and female. Now you got some people got some other funny things. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they get all mixed up. And the person purporting to be something is not what the Constitution says that person really is. And people do that for their own personal objectives and expect to get support from the Constitution. We have to understand the meaning of those things in the context of our Constitution. This is where a lot of people go wrong because they got their own interpretation to it. So whatever those things may be, creed, sex, race, political opinions, etc., the rights, freedoms, and privileges of the individual are afforded to those persons. And then it goes on to say what those rights are. That is to say, then it goes on and start to break it down the line.
Okay, so let's go through each of them.
Yeah, that's right.
Race is pretty straightforward.
Right.
Race meaning whether or not you are Caucasian or of African descent or American Indian or Asian or the race is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so it doesn't matter
What color your skin
what
is.
color your
too now.
skin is.
That's right, yes.
Okay, so
Those rights still would apply.
okay, so that takes care of
It
race.
takes care of race, yes.
Place of origin.
Right. Where you came from.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't matter because, you know, people have different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
We respect that because we have ours here.
Mm-hmm.
The unfortunate thing with us is that we allow others to try and change what we have here. So if that's what his origin is, I have no problem with that. He can come, but the rights still will apply to those particular persons. But we have to make sure that we keep what we have in the Bahamas. That is very important.
Okay. We have to take a break. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk more about political opinions, color, creed, and the big one is sex, because that's where there's a lot of confusion. And we need to determine what the Constitution means when it says sex.
Amen.
All right. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses loud.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here, along with my guest, Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. We are breaking down the Constitution of the Bahamas in this Constitution Masterclass Monday. Okay, so we are streaming live on Facebook. on the official Global 99.5 FM, as well as the official Michelle Malcolm page is. And you can call in at 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp line that you can now call or text is 801-0271, 801-0271. So Professor Thompson and I are here on this Masterclass Monday talking about the Constitution of the Bahamas, and we are now on Article 15, which is the beginning of Chapter 3, which focuses on the protection of fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual. Okay, so we covered race, we covered place of origin, political opinions seem straightforward.
Yes.
No matter what party you represent.
Color too. Oh yeah, that's what the Constitution says. We dealt with that.
All right, so it doesn't matter which party
doesn't matter.
Or political opinion. Okay.
Yeah.
Color, straightforward. Black and yellow, red and white. And anything in between.
Anything in between.
You covered.
You're covered. Fully covered.
Now, what is creed? What is that about?
That has to do with religion. Religious beliefs, ideas an individual may have, things they believe in. They will come with all kinds of ideas. It might necessarily be religion in the sense as we have it in the Bahamas, but nevertheless, there are certain beliefs that they may have, which they go by, they belong to, and the Constitution and other articles allow for that to happen. So whether the fellow is a Buddhist, whether this fellow is some of these other strange Eastern religions and that kind of thing might be visiting the Bahamas, and something could happen. So that is covered with the word creed. And you have all sorts coming into the country now with different religions, and we see certain Bahamian people now adopting too certain of these strange things, which of course is not Bahamian at all, never was a part of our heritage.
Right.
But the Constitution allows people to have those things. They can be one thing today, they may decide to change tomorrow or next week, whenever they decide to so do. So it has to do with what they believe or what they may even practice. Now, of course, some things that certain of these religious entities have are not supported by our statute laws in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Such as?
Well, you have some of them sacrificing the animals, killing animals, sacrifices, or putting little babies in the fire. See, the Bible tells you about them kind of
Yeah, we don't
people,
believe in that.
No, we can't at all. That would be contrary to our law, because that is not to be practiced in here. Now, they may do it in the other countries, and some other funny things that, people are involved in. In fact, if we go to the scriptures, we will see where God saw ahead of time, told the children of Israel, now see them fellas over there? He saw them before we did. These are things that they practice, which are abominable practices. And God say, no, we don't want you to get involved in that. But unfortunately, something they're smarter than God. So they say they want to try this, they want to try that. But being brought up in the Bahamas, you ain't got to try that. You already know what the truth is. You got the Holy Bible.
Well, now we have to talk about this next one, because people who have certain views with regard to sex,
yes,
and what that means. You talk about people being smarter than God. We have this thing now where we say you woke, or you have evolved, or you now understand more than the forefathers would have understood, because obviously when this document was written, male was male and female was female.
Still the same.
There wasn't any confusion. There wasn't any confusion,
no confusion whatsoever. That's
to what is what.
What is what? Yes.
But nowadays they say being a female is a feeling, or being a male is a feeling. I don't feel like a male. I feel like a female in a male body. So I am a female.
That's. I'm glad you raised that point, because see, the thing is, unfortunately, these people get this from a different source. When we look at Scripture, God made them male and female. Then See, you could have males, then God named them man and woman. See, all women are females. Not all females are women. All men are males. Not all males are men.
Mm-hmm.
They have the male structure, they have the female structure. Now, some smart aleck believe that they know better than God, but I got this feeling. Where did that feeling come from? Where did that idea come from? Some mixed up entity or personality would have given it to them. Because the thing is, if you look at a person, is that particular person male or female? There should be no confusion. You look at me, that's Professor Thompson. I look at you, that's Miss Malcolm. No confusion there. But the point is, if we're going to have a situation where so-called persons trapped in a male body or so-called persons trapped in a female body, as that kind of nonsense is being perpetrated today, what you're going to have is 10, 15, 20 years down the road, or even sooner, might be as early as 5 years or less, this kind of wickedness flourishes so quickly that it causes confusion. To the point where I think Mr. Obama had same-sex bathrooms. I don't know how far that went. I think they did stop that.
I don't think so.
They haven't stopped it.
Mm-mm.
Okay, all right. But it created confusion because some people lost their lives, all right? I would have thought we'd learn sense. But it doesn't seem that man with his stubborn nature, rebellious nature against God, believes that he is better. We are so better educated, we don't need God. And that's where confusion and strife comes in. And I hope in the Bahamas we will be able to stand up as Bahamians against this kind of wickedness, because the little children coming up being told, 2 mummies, 2 daddies, that is normal for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That is not normal. That's abnormal. That's wickedness in that, in fact. That's what it is. And then these lifestyles, homosexual lifestyles, lesbian lifestyles, all of that is an abomination condemned by Holy Scripture. And I think we need to tell people plainly what it is. We should not be comfortable with that kind of crap, because what it does, it causes confusion. I understand, Ms. Malcolm, a particular personality was murdered because the particular individual was mistaken for a male, and the particular individual was physically female. You see how dangerous that could be? That person's now dead. So I don't want no one to mistake Professor Thompson. They're going to know that's as a man. And I wouldn't want anyone to mistake Ms. Malcolm. That's a woman. But if we start, and see, even God tell us, Ms. Malcolm, do not put on clothing pertaining to the woman. The man is not to dress like that. They got what is, I remember when they started some time ago, this unisex clothing. Everybody wearing the same thing. You ain't know whether that's male or female. It started there. Now it has graduated to so much nonsense now that it's cost some people their lives because of the way they look or the way they dress. And that person is in her grave today because she was mistaken to be what she was not. And Ms. Malcolm, that is a very dangerous thing to be involved in, and parents need to train and educate their children. In fact, these parents need to understand too, because some of them are all mixed up. Okay? And so when the little children come up, and I got a great-grandniece who is 5 years old, and I told my nephew, I said that this child's going to grow up in an environment where all kind of foolishness is happening. You have to protect this child. Beautiful child, intelligent, ask me all kinds of questions. The point is, little children are very inquisitive. If we don't have responsible adults to direct them, point out right as opposed to wrong, good as opposed to evil, they can be totally confused with the sex issue. And in the meaning of our Constitution, sex means male and female, nothing more, nothing less.
And he leans back as he says that, y'all. So in other words, I finished. That dropped the mic. But okay. But now, what was the original intent by the authors of the Constitution? And can it be argued that that might have been the original intent, but the world was a very different place then than it is now? And whether you agree with it or not, the world has evolved to, honestly, I ain't trying to be disrespectful to nobody, right? But it's hard to keep up. Because today you got transgender, tomorrow you got fluid. And it's just like it keeps changing. They keep moving.
What is the source of it?
You know, and it's hard to keep up with. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But the principles of God do not change. They remain the same. That's why all of that crap is out there to confuse you, to mislead you, to deceive you. That's of the enemy. That's all that is. And it keeps changing all the time. You even want to change the word about immigrants now.
Listen, man.
They got all kind of different words. I heard someone was telling me, I say, is that what they're saying now? I said, I don't know nothing about that.
There's a situation in the United States right now.
Yes, ma'am.
This individual was born, I try to make sure I get it right now. This particular individual, you know, I'm into pageantry, right?
Yes,
this particular individual was born a female.
Yes.
Decided that they were in the wrong body. So went through the procedures, the medical procedures, to have things removed and have things added so that they could be identified as a female.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, as a male, sorry. So the
male,
person was born female.
Right.
They went through the procedures to become a male. Went through all of the procedures. And then they decided that they wanted to enter a female contest. Now, help me make sense of that.
Yes.
Because you was born a female.
Exactly.
You decide you will no longer want to be a female. You want to be a male.
Right.
You go through all of that, and then you decide, I want to enter a female contest.
That sounds like foolishness.
Oh, what sense that make?
It doesn't make any sense at all. And I understand it has happened. I hope y'all don't get mixed up with the pageantry now.
Well, quite frankly, there are pageants now, the international pageants like Miss Universe, for instance, where they do accept transgender contestants. So I think it was 12 years ago? And time flies so quickly.
Yes,
they had the very first transgender contestant from Spain, born male, now identifying as a female, having gone through all of the surgeries, etc. And that person was allowed to compete in the Miss Universe pageant. And actually, the new current owner of the Miss Universe organization is a transgender female, born male, and now female. So definitely some pageants are already headed in that direction.
Yes.
I have my personal view about it. I haven't hidden my personal view. I believe that should be limited to naturally born females. And if you want to have a contest for transgenders, you have an individual contest for them. It's like this whole argument of transgenders in sports.
Yes, it is. That's correct.
I do not agree with allowing transgenders to compete in a sporting event with biological women.
Yes.
Because whether they feel like a female or not, the reality is they were born with stronger, bigger muscles.
Definitely.
That will make them faster and stronger. And no matter what a female does, a biologically, born female, they will never be able to compete against a transgender female, no matter how many hormones they take, because their structure is different. So, if you want to be inclusive, let them compete amongst themselves, but do not force that upon me as a biological female.
Exactly.
Because there's no way that I can compete against that. No way.
Yeah, that is correct. And this is why those who are biologically females and those who are biologically males need to stand up against this nonsense, because it is very unfair to our girls and our women when it comes to competition.
Mhm.
And I don't know what happened to the Church of the United States, but I'm looking into that now because I asked someone for some information. And I don't know the position of the church in the Bahamas, but I do know that they're making strides or inroads. You got one or two on the radio in this country pushing that agenda. And I do not know what the church stand is. I know what the biblical stand is. The thing is, male and female has not changed from inception. When it started in the Garden of Eden, God made them male and female. The point is, this is total confusion because it's going to cost people their lives.
So let me say this.
Huh.
I think this needs clarification. When Article 15 talks about sex, it is talking about gender and not sexual orientation, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Because I've heard arguments that this, when it says sex, that this is really referring to sexual orientation as opposed to gender.
Well, all you do is go right back to the preamble.
Okay.
We'll tell you what we stand for.
Okay.
Woman, every man, every woman, every child. All right?
Mhm.
That's in the document itself. Now,
Mhm.
I believe what we're going to have to do now, we're going to have to make an amendment to the Constitution to make sure that this kind of nonsense is not perpetrated on the Bahamian people. Now, the Constitution, there are a lot of things, and it talks about woman. It says every woman, but who is this woman? Okay, we're going to have to make an amendment to our Constitution to define what sex is in the meaning of the Constitution, and what woman is, and what man is in the meaning of the Constitution. Because obviously you're going to have some person who think they're smart and they try to use our Constitution for their own selfish purposes. And here they are sitting down thinking everything is okay, and it's not. Because I will not be surprised at some point down the road, I don't know how soon it might be, might be sooner than you think, someone's going to challenge it.
Oh yeah, that comes.
It says any woman with a particular personality purports to be a woman. And that particular personality is not a woman in the meaning of the Constitution as we understand it. Now, we can't leave it the way it is now because you got these liberal-minded personalities who may be in a position of authority, and they make a ruling or a decision because, see, a person sitting on a bench, because that particular personality makes a decision, that does not mean it is necessarily right. And that does not mean it is law. And a lot of people get all mixed up. Remember now when a particular individual made a decision, everybody went rushing down to the government department demanding something which they could not have done. See, what people fail to understand, Parliament makes laws. Not a judge, not a court, Parliament. Article 52.1, Parliament make laws. And 3 specific reasons are mentioned. For the peace, 1, order, 2, good government, Commonwealth of the Bahamas. If those 3 ingredients are not in the law, it's not worth anything. Okay? So what the Bahamian people have to understand is, in 2023, we're going to have to say what woman is, what man is, what sex is in the context of our Constitution. We're going to have to add an amendment to the Constitution to make that strong. If we leave it the way it is, it's wide open to some liberal-minded person whose mind is confused and make a determination. And here we are sitting right here. And then we jump up and say, oh, that's what he said. Or that's what that particular personality said. And then you have all kinds of screwed up people coming our way because people like to take advantage of us as Bahamians. And let me say this, Ms. Malcolm. I was listening to another show.
Mm-hmm.
And I see where Bahamians are so gung-ho on what others are telling them about our independence, which I lived through and experienced.
Mm-hmm.
We have Bahamian authors who wrote it. And you got one particular personality who was hosting a show calling our founding fathers lazy, which is very disrespectful. You saying my ma and pa lazy? You got to be out of your mind. And they were given something. Given what? They didn't fight for anything. All of this kind of nonsense and foolishness passing over the airways. Yes, we had to fight for independence. July 10, 1973. The record is there to speak for itself. But they're getting misinformation from some person or persons who wrote some things, but we didn't have enough sense to examine the evidence, see what our authors said, who lived it, who experienced it. Dr. Dame Johnson. Let me add this point while I remember. The Quiet Revolution. Dr. Dame Johnson wrote The Quiet Revolution. Do you know the last election, September the 16th, 2021, was the most quietest, calm election since independence? Miss, you couldn't even hear a pin drop on the ground. It was so quiet. I've never seen anything like that. Not even the leaves were moving, Miss Malcolm. Not even the leaves. The criminals and all behaved themselves. I went out to the polls and I saw what people were doing. Nobody was milling around causing no trouble. They were extremely quiet. Didn't hear no cars making noise in the street, people running up and down doing foolishness. That shows you the power of God and how we can transit from one administration to the other without shedding one single drop of blood. And yet there are those. We should have told that to CARICOM. We should have told it to them other people who came here, who talking about they want to be observers. What we do not do is we don't write our own story. I don't need any Caribbean personalities to tell me about elections in the Bahamas. I lived through all of them. And I know what they were. And the last one was the best ever we had since majority rule in the Commonwealth of Bahamas. And it reminded me of the book Dr. Dame Johnson wrote, The Quiet Revolution. And that quiet revolution has continued right on up September the 16th, 2021, and up to today too. But there are those who are trying to disrupt that with their nonsensical arguments to get the Bahamian people in a tizzy. I'm so glad they can't, The Bahamians resist that. And I wanted to stubbornly resist this violent streak that's in some fellas south of us. Because that's not our nature, Miss Malcolm. We don't behave like that. We don't live like that. And I heard another one who is a political personality saying on the air yesterday, oh, they dropped some of us here. They dropped some of them over there. We all came on the same boat. That's not true. When you look at those people south and the people in the Bahamas, totally different people. The way how we were brought up under the different administrations. One had the French, one had the British. And so the two of them are totally different. All you got to look at the history and see how they treated people and how we were treated here. And I'm so delighted that Bahamians have enough sense to make sure keep that political stability. Nothing to do with a political party. It has to do with the quality of character in the Bahamian people.
So, quick question. You're talking about us having to change the Constitution to clearly define what is considered sex.
Exactly.
Does that mean that we would have to go to a referendum to have
Oh,
that
yes.
done?
Oh, yes, indeed. So it's locked into the document. Now, you got some people who are afraid to do referendum. You're afraid to referendum, you shouldn't be governing the country in the first place. I am so delighted when I see the vast majority of articles in this Constitution, with the exception of one or two, like the Attorney General's office. It's a good thing, man, you're not like that. They created a comfortable position for somebody, Director of Public Prosecutions. And then there was misleading information on that, Ms. Malcolm, as it'll come to memory now. Independent Director of Public Prosecutions, which they were saying prior to the law being changed.
Mhm.
There's no such thing. You check the law itself, what they wrote, what they debated, what they passed. There's no such thing as an independent director of public prosecution. Check the Constitution for yourself. It's right there. What you have is the director of public prosecutions, if he deems in his head, he decided he want to call me today or tomorrow, I got to answer the man. I going? All you got to do is tell me, say, come, I coming? That's within his constitutional right to so do.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to fight him and tell him, no, I ain't coming. He said, I'm coming. Just give me a little time to put my clothes on. I'm coming.
All right. We have to take a break, Professor. When we come back, we're going to continue on this Masterclass Monday with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. We're talking about the Constitution of the Bahamas. We're in Article 15, Chapter 3, if you want to follow along. Stay with us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on this Masterclass Monday. We're looking at the Constitution of the Bahamas. You can definitely chime in by calling 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, or by checking us out on Facebook, on the official Global 99.5 FM Facebook page, or the official Michelle Malcolm Facebook page. You can also call us now or text us on our WhatsApp line, which is 801-0271, 801-0271. And you can also watch us on Cable Bahamas Channel 974. And we are also streaming on YouTube. So if you haven't already done so, like and share the show. Let everybody know that GPS is on the air. And Professor Thompson is back at the desk, helping us to understand this thing called the Constitution of the Bahamas. Now, prior to the break, Professor said that we're going to have to address this whole question of sex in the Constitution as it relates to Article 15 for the sake of clarity. And the only way to do that, to make any changes, is by way of referendum. Now, here's the thing, Professor.
Yes.
Ever since the referendum where then Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham made the statement that whoever wins this referendum vote will win the election. Unfortunately, in the minds of many, that meant that the referendum is a political thing.
Yes.
That the way I vote for a referendum depends on which party I am affiliated with and whether or not that party brought that particular change to the table.
Yes.
So it could be something that benefits me, but if my party ain't bring it, I can vote against myself because it's a political thing.
Yes.
Why is that a big mistake?
I am delighted you brought it that way. I'm going to answer it constitutionally.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, the comment you made. You're accurate and you're precise with your comment.
Mm-hmm.
Bahamians, we need to understand. The Constitution speaks to political parties. You are free to belong to a political party. Many Bahamians are what you call followers of political parties. They're not even members.
Mm.
They just follow what the party is doing.
Mm-hmm.
In order to preserve your freedoms, you cannot and you ought not to have any administration in power just having a free run on things, and it could be to your detriment. You as an elector, an member of the electorate, that's what the Constitution talks about. Electors, they are those persons who participate in the election of members of the House of Assembly. Now, in order to change some things in the Constitution, it requires the participation of the electorate. It could be an issue, might be in a particular given constituency. You may have a referendum on that. It could be national. In this case, national, when it comes to what we're talking about. Bahamians, it is most important that you can be a member of a political party. But when you go to the polls in an election, like we did in September 16, 2021, you are electing what? A member to the House of Assembly, a particular individual to become your parliamentary representative. There's a vast difference between being a member of a political party, as one thing, being a representative of the House of Assembly, another thing. Just like I'll use this analogy, St. Barnabas Church, you're members in Barnabas Church, you go there at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock whenever they have service on Sunday. But then Monday morning, 9 o'clock, you go to BDC. One individual is a member of St. Barnabas Church, but at the same time an employee of BDC. You don't get it mixed up, or BEC or some other entity. So the thing is that the referendums are there to change things in the Constitution. And Bahamians, we're going to have to change some things in the Constitution. And this is one we're going to have to change. We got to determine constitutionally what sex means. We're going to have to determine constitutionally what man means, what child means, what woman means. Bahamians, we can't leave it the way it is, because in our Constitution it says any woman, but that particular personality purporting to be a woman is not a woman. Are you going to leave it like that, Bahamians?
We have a call on the line.
You got to correct that.
We have a call on the line.
Yes.
Well, caller welcome. Well, we had a call on the line.
We had a call. I'm sorry, Roger.
That's all right. 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. On the WhatsApp line, you can now call on in addition to send a text. And that number is 801-0271, 801-0271. You wanted to say something? Professor?
Yes, I do, because see, Ms. Malcolm, this is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
It is unfortunate that Bahamians politicize a referendum.
Mm-hmm.
Bahamians, you have to understand the Constitution protects you, not the political personality, not the political party. When you send a person to the House of Assembly, you don't send them to represent a political party.
Mm-hmm.
If you are thinking along those lines, and that I can tell you another thing again, this may shock some of you. You can be a member of a political party. You do not have to vote for the candidate of that political party, because that candidate may not be suitable to be a representative. And all you're going to do is do a terrible injustice to yourself. The same way the people at St. Barnabas Church, members of the same church, go to different jobs, assemble every Sunday, and you don't have them people in there saying, who go to BDC, leave your job, come to BDC Monday morning.
Professor, you know you're talking to hear yourself, right? We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Oh, this is such a wonderful experience. This is Professor. Professor, you know, there's an Indian saying that goes way back. It says, clutter is the enemy of clarity. And when you look at how governments attempt to allow persons to come and clutter your environment, you would have less clarity.
Okay.
And I'm beginning to believe it seems to be a deliberate attempt to do that in the Bahamas by both administrations.
Okay.
And I want to know, is there anything that we can do as a citizenry to show them up from the clutter that they're allowing to just proliferate the Bahamas and there is no clarity? If you look on the streets today, you see people who, they don't know how to drive, they lost, and you can clearly see that they don't belong here.
Yes.
Or they don't care to be here, or they want to change the way things are done here.
Yes.
Clutter seems to be the enemy of clarity, deliberately planting by administrations after administrations. What's your point on that?
You asked a very good question. I'm going to answer it constitutionally. The thing is, I'm happy that he brought it up, you know. It shows that he's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
The Constitution says very plainly, there are some specific things we must do. And I got bad vexed with that so-called educated personality talking foolishness on the radio about we don't have any information, we don't have any guidelines. That's the word she used. Guidelines to a nation. What utter nonsense and foolishness. The Constitution says in order to preserve this nation and to guarantee our freedoms, some very specific things we need to do. National commitment to self-discipline. You heard him talk about people in the streets driving around doing foolishness?
Mm-hmm.
That's only a tip of the iceberg. Look at the murder rate. Look how out of control we are because the government of the Bahamas never took that national commitment to self-discipline seriously. Never did. That's the problem in our country. National commitment to self-discipline. It was never taught by the government of the Bahamas. They're not doing it now, and they've never done it. And we're coming up on 50 years. 50 years of indiscipline in our people. You know how long it's going to take? Well, you got to work at it now. I'm prepared to work at it, but I need the support of the Bahamian people. And I'm glad he asked that. That's an excellent question. I hope we can get more questions like that. It's answered in your Constitution. If you do not do certain things to guarantee your freedom, that means you have it. If you do some specific things, national commitment to what? Self-discipline. There's only one out of several of them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We have never done that in this country from July the 10th, 1972, right up to today. It has never been done by the government of the Bahamas. I hear political parties always talking about they want to govern. Govern what? Govern who? By what? Political parties wrote things on scraps of paper and say, this is what we promised to do. They never fulfill the promises. All I do is look through the evidence of what political parties have written. That's why I kept all of them. So I could go back and read it and highlight certain things, what they said, which are not constitutional, you know.
If you'd like to make a call.
It isn't constitutional at all. We have to help our people to understand there are some specific things we must do as a people in order to preserve our freedoms, and that's one of them, national commitment to self-discipline. We have such massive indiscipline in our males. I had him talking about violence against women and children, violence against the males. That is top priority in our country. I made him talk about that. Well, the men ain't talking about it either. That's the problem. Now, I'm not saying the women shouldn't talk about the violence against women and children. I can understand that. That's important.
Right.
But the violence against the males, males killing males, that's a serious thing on our country. So I'm happy that caller asked that question. The question is answered in your Constitution in the preamble. In order to preserve our freedoms, and since he mentioned about the discipline part, I thought I would deal with that aspect of it, but there are several other national things we have never done in this country. And that's why we're messed up today.
Wow. Okay, so based on Article 15, we've covered
the top part.
Yeah, we've covered where it says who has this right. We're talking whatever his race, place of origin, political opinions, color, creed, or sex. But subject to respect for the rights and freedoms of others.
Stop right there. Stop right there. I am glad. Oh, praise the Lord. These founding fathers know what they were doing. And then they can tell me something was given to me, and I know my ma and pa work hard for this. Stop talking foolishness and nonsense. Subject to what? To the rights and freedoms of others. That is the key phrase in your Constitution.
Okay, break it down.
That simply means, yes, and then it says, and you read it earlier, each and every one of the following. They read Section A yet.
Right.
So this is why people need to understand the terminology that is being used in the Constitution. Okay? Subject to. In other words, these rights, these freedoms, these privileges are subjected to by the individual now. It says rights and freedoms of the individual. The Bahamas need to understand this. That individual is a particular personality or person. But that goes right to all of them, each and every one. That's spelled out in the document. Each, right? Each and every one of the rights, freedoms, and privilege. When we start hit Section 8, we're going to see it applies to everyone in the Bahamas, but his right to those rights, freedoms, and privileges are subjected to the rights and freedoms of others and public safety,
right?
Public authority.
Public interest.
Public interest, yes. The public interest is separate and apart from others. Two different things entirely. People miss that. You an individual. You say, well, these are my rights. Yes, they are. But they're subject to the rights and freedoms of others and the public interest. What benefits the public? What benefits others? Your rights cannot supersede the rights of others and the public interest. And people don't seem to understand that because they don't know the document.
But who determines what that public interest is?
I'm glad you said it. That's a good question. It could be determined by the authorities of the day in cooperation with, and that's why I keep saying to people, you got to stay on your representatives. You don't sit back after the election and say, let them run things. I haven't all the difficulty in the world to get to my representative. I haven't spoken to him since he got in the house. But that's not the way you run. That's not representation. So when he stands up in the house, say he's talking for my constituents, he ain't talking for me. Because he never met with me. He never discussed nothing with me. And there are some burning issues that affect that constituency. But this is how they talk foolishness and nonsense. The point is, whoever is going to determine are those who are the legal authorities or the governing authorities, plus the cooperation of the citizenry. Citizens need to understand you can't sit back and let these couple of people, I mean, they got 39, whatever, 39, yeah, okay. They're going to make life and death decisions for you. You know the kind of problems we have today in this country, which have been lingering for decades, for centuries? Come on, man. Old age problems. And they come and telling you every time there's election, they write this crap on paper. And all you got to do is go back and read all of it and say, this is what they said in this election, this is what they said in that election, and look at the contradictions, all kinds of contradictions. But we don't stop to think and say we got to put this nonsense down. I have yet to see the first political party to say that they're going to run things according to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You ain't got to believe me. Go and check the documents for yourself.
Well, Ali McIntosh might disagree with you. She of the Constitution Party.
But okay, fine. That's an exception. So, Ali, I apologize. Malcolm, you did the right thing. The Constitution Party, she's a strong believer in the Constitution. Now, the question is, Bahamians, do you believe in the Constitution? Well, you see, you didn't know it for 50 years. But thank God you're waking up now, and that's a good thing. But then we have to act responsibly, and we have to tell those who are governing the country today, when they're wrong, they are to be told they are wrong. You don't even blink at that, because I've seen many people who lived in that 56 years and 2 months now, I think it is, since majority rule, 50 years approximately since independence. They lived. And the hurtful thing about it, Ms. Malcolm, is they died and they didn't see what it is they were fighting with. You know why? Because they had confidence in the personalities who were given the authority to govern the country. They expected them to look out for their interests, but they haven't done it. They certainly ain't doing it today. And look at the contradictions you have right now, where the Deputy Prime Minister is saying one thing. There's no such thing as no Deputy Prime Minister. Let me withdraw that. That's utter nonsense and foolishness. The Minister of Tourism and the Minister of Aviation. Okay? We got to deal with this thing straight. And the Prime Minister, that's a constitutional office, saying that the plan approved.
So are you saying that Deputy Prime Minister is not a constitutional
office? Oh, no,
office?
That's not a constitutional office. And they never corrected it over 50 years. Tell them, check the document, you won't see it there. But the fellow getting paid is Deputy Prime Minister. So we got to withdraw all that money that was paid out, all those benefits to so-called Deputy Prime Minister. And I add another thing again, state ministers, no such thing in the Constitution. You got a whole army of them right now. I mean, where did this foolishness come from? You see why our budget is so bloated? And then a whole army of consul generals and deputy this and deputy that. And I mean, it's so bloated now. This is the biggest I've ever seen since majority rule. All kind of positions.
Well, again, if you don't know what is in the Constitution,
Exactly.
then anybody could sell you anything.
Sell any crap.
If you don't know what's in it.
That's right. That's correct. And so it's important that the Bahamian people know their Constitution. It's your salvation document. That's all you have, Bahamians. Not the views of some strangers and foreigners and aliens who write Encyclopedia Britannica. Someone was telling me, one talk show was telling me. I told them plainly, I don't need to read that crap. I lived it. I experienced it. My mother and father experienced it. Bahamian authors have written about it. Dr. Dame Doris Johnson. Bill McCurling. And you had Wendell Jones from Jones Communication. Wrote a big book. I got a copy of that big book he wrote. The most, I think it's the most important 100 Bahamians. All of that our Bahamian authors wrote, he lived through it and he saw it and he wrote about it, and we can listen to one stranger with his foreign view? How could we be so foolish not to listen to Dr. Dame Doris Johnson, not to listen to Randall Fox, not to listen to Sir Clement Maynard, Sir Lyndon Oscar Finley? I hear people quoting all kinds of things, what one female in another country quoting, but nobody ever says anything about what Sir Lyndon said. And he's the father of the nation. No one ever says what Arthur Dion Haney said. Nobody says what Loftus Roker said. Loftus Roker's still alive. George Smith. I mean, come on, what are we saying? Huh? Don't tell me no crap from some other personality in a foreign nation, which never experienced what we experienced. Tell them go fix their own problem. And they're talking foolishness.
We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good afternoon. Good. How are you?
Good. No, I'm a person. I study some of the Constitution, but I know some of them, and I know some of my rights and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is from a person, just say a layman, who could care less about what's in the Constitution and all that stuff. What benefit is, let me ask your guest, what benefit are you being a professor of the Constitution, and just say me who don't know anything about this Constitution, but yet I still have the same rights and freedom as a person who knows all of the legalese in the Constitution? What benefit that you have more than me?
It's a good question that you asked, But let me put it to you this way. If you don't know it, you're going to be taken advantage of. That's the danger.
But I think that's hypothetical too, because a lot of persons would say a person could get taken advantage of because while they may not know the Constitution per se, they know what is right and wrong, and what should be allowed and not allowed for the most part. So,
but you don't.
Even though they may not know the Constitution,
Carla, you don't know.
Carla, they still know. Huh?
No, Carla, you're way off. You don't know. See, the thing is, listen to what you were saying on air today. Listen to yourself now. Mm-hmm. You're contradicting yourself.
In terms of what?
Huh?
In terms of what?
You are asking, here's one who knows, here's one who doesn't. Right? Isn't that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, now, what benefits? You said, what benefits do you have?
That you have over me that who may not know the Constitution.
In other words, you know the Constitution. He does not. What benefit do you have over him by knowing it?
Yeah, but the thing is, I hear the question. But I think what he needs to understand is that when it comes to the Constitution, it is a national document, right? If citizens in their country do not know how their government ought to function, what are their rights and freedoms as citizens in that country, any administration could take advantage of them.
Caller, I said this before on this particular show. I may have even said it as early as last week, as recently as last week, but I think it bears repeating to answer your question. And this is an illustration of why you are at a disadvantage if you don't know your rights and privileges. So those of you who heard me tell the story before, please bear with me. I think it bears repeating. There was a gentleman back in the day who, before they had airplanes that could travel from one continent to the other, they had to travel by ship, by boat. And so there was a very poor gentleman who needed to get from one continent to the other. And all he was able to do is save up enough money for the ticket. So he bought his ticket and he packed up his little Georgie bundle with all his cheese and crackers, enough to get him across the sea, and he boarded the ship. And every day at dinner time, he would watch the wealthy people dressed up in their suits walk into the dining room and enjoy the most scrumptious meals while he sat outside and ate the cheese and crackers. So finally, the last day of the cruise, one of the gentlemen from inside came outside and said, "Sir, what have we done to offend you? Why did you refuse to eat with us this entire trip?" And so the poor man says, no, sir, you didn't offend me. I didn't come in to eat with you because I didn't have any money to buy the meal. And the wealthy man says, sir, don't you understand? The meal was included in the price of your ticket. So he had the right to that food all along, but was sitting outside eating stale crackers and cheese because he did not know what was included in the price of that ticket. It's the same thing when you're talking about the Constitution. It could be filled with all the rights in the world, but if you don't know what they are, you ain't benefiting from them.
And you don't use them.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, that answers the question, yeah.
It's a good question that he asked, because Bahamians are now waking up after 4 incidents that occurred. And I thank you, Mr. Caller, for the question.
Okay,
good
thank
question.
you.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, and I think he means well. I can
course,
hear that.
and it's a good question. There's no such thing as a bad
That's why I
question.
want to answer him constitutionally.
Yes.
It's very important that I do that.
Right.
And the thing is, because we have not put the kind of pressure on personalities who were elected to do what? Not to sit in the House of Assembly, say, I'm a member of a political party. And then they make the mistake believing that the seat belongs to a particular political party, but it isn't. The Constitution doesn't support that crap.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we're swallowing it day in and day out, and it becomes a part of our psyche, becomes a part of our makeup, and we miss the benefits that should be coming to us as a people because we allow people to do nonsense and foolishness with our money in our country, where we as citizens pay heavily for these things, and we don't benefit because we didn't know.
All right, we're going to go to a break. One of our viewers on Facebook says, what's the benefit of knowing your constitutional rights is knowing what legal power you have over non-citizens. All right, we got to take a break, y'all. We're going to continue with this masterclass on the Constitution with Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. After these words from our sponsors, stay with us. This is GPS.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the Mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company today. We are still streaming live on Facebook on the official Global 99.5 FM and Michelle Malcolm pages. You can call in at 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272 or 8010271, 8010271. That's the WhatsApp line, and you can actually now call or text us on the WhatsApp line. My guest today and every Monday is Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson. We are talking about the Constitution, breaking it down for you line by line, chapter by chapter, verse by verse. Amen. So you can get a better understanding of your rights, privileges, and responsibilities as it relates to the Constitution of the Bahamas, because you can only take advantage or benefit from what you know.
Yes.
If you don't know what's in the thing, anybody can take advantage of you. Just because you are entitled to the right don't mean you will receive that if you don't know what that right is.
Right. And then another thing is, there's no guarantee that people are not going to interfere with it. Because the thing is, that's carnal nature.
Mm-hmm.
When people know you have some privileges,
right,
they will try and block you from even getting it. They say they don't want you to have it. And it would be even worse when you don't know, do not understand. But at some point you wake up and you realize, hey, I need to do something about it. And the quicker you do something about it, the better for you and for your family, for your community, for your nation.
So the bottom line is you got to know what's in the thing.
You have to know what's
in
and document behemoths. And I'm not saying that they have to be a professor like me.
Of course not.
Because that's not expected. You see, my family asked me all kinds of constitutional questions.
Mm-hmm.
And they come fast and furious because they know I understand constitutional law.
Mm-hmm.
They know that.
Mm-hmm.
So why ask somebody you don't know? It's being stupid and foolish. Now don't ask me how to fix one car. I don't know anything about that. You got to go to the mechanic. My oldest brother, is an excellent mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
That's his field. But I'm saying that we have to know to protect our interests. That's Article 24.1.
Mm-hmm.
You can't protect your interests if you don't know what your interest is to begin with.
Right.
And it takes the collective will. And that's why, let me just add this piece with Malcolm while it's in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I am saying to people, you have to get on well with people. See, the people in my area, I get on well with them. Now, some of them, you know, sometimes they could get in your hair. But then at the same time, you have to live with these people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get personal with them. I tell people this all the time. You could get to know people very well, work with them, help them, assist them, and they work with you and they assist you without getting personal. And I know husbands and wives
for years. They never tell me they were married. But I'm very friendly with the wife and very friendly with the husband. And that's been going on for more than 50 years. All I'm simply saying is there's a way to do it without getting into people's personal affairs. Now, if they tell me something that's personal, I can't talk it. Being a justice of the peace, you got to keep it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go home, I got to pray, ask the Lord, help me to forget it. And I will forget it, so I don't remember it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing. But no, we have to come together in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to be well organized to bring change. If you ain't sure how to do it, you call me, I'll help you to do it. Because I'm well experienced in that. And I need to help you when you get the knowledge, how to use it, how to put it into effect. You might be afraid to speak to the people on your street or in your community. You shouldn't be, but you have to start at some point. Get someone to help you, to break the ice for you, then you all can get together and start moving.
Well, that's the whole purpose of this series of shows every Monday, to try to bring some understanding to the masses about what is, contained in the Constitution and why you should know these things. Because for generations, I dare say that Bahamians, for the most part, have been taken advantage of.
Terrible advantage.
Because nobody ever bothered to check what's in this thing. Well, I shouldn't say nobody, because there was the Constitutional Reform Commission.
Yes.
But the masses, for the most part, have not bothered to look into this document, and therefore have been taken advantage of in many instances.
Right. But see, the committee I guess they meant well in what they did. But the point is, there was never any teaching instruction to the masses. That never occurred in 50 years. All right? That's to our detriment. When it says a national commitment in your Constitution, the government of the Bahamas has that responsibility. It falls on their shoulders. If they fail to do it, then the people have to rise up and put pressure on the government to make sure that they do it. 50 years has gone by, it was never done. Now, we can't keep waiting for them. The people have to do something about it, and we can. See, that's the beauty of the Constitution. We can do something about it. Article 24(1) says we have the right to protect our interests. That's constitutional. So even if the government don't want to do nothing, let them sit right over there. We're going to deal with them. But we have to move ahead as a unified people to do the things that are essential and necessary, because the government of Bahamas has signed on to all kinds of agreements which you and I know nothing about. And yet they're coming and telling you and me that we have to do this, we have to do nothing. Because we can say we don't know nothing what you're talking about. But yet they signed it and attached the name of the Bahamas to it and say we're committed to it. That's a big problem.
Okay, we have a caller from WhatsApp. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, Michelle. I have a quick question for the professor. Well, two. Who were the framers of the Constitution? And how could the first Deputy Prime Minister have been Hannah, if that's not in the Constitution?
The first question was...
I'm going to hang up.
Wait, don't hang up.
No, give me the first question first.
Repeat the question.
Who were the framers or the authors of the Constitution?
Okay, let me answer that one while it's in my head. You had those persons who went to London, the Constitutional Conference. Sir Lyndon Pinling, Arthur Dion Hanna, the Honorable Loftus Roker. I believe Sir Randolph Fox might have been there too, I'm not sure. But there were about quite a number of them. And in fact, it's in Sir Randolph's book, which says, The Fate That Moved the Mountain. So he was actively involved in the movement toward independence. He has a listing of all the framers of the Constitution. George Smith, he's still alive. The Honorable Loftus Roker, he's still very much alive.
Okay.
They're some of the founding fathers. I don't remember all of them, but you must also understand. Let me just add this, since you asked the question. Before they went, they had what was the green paper, what was the white paper. There was tremendous discussion among the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, because I was involved in it. 18-year-olds were the first to vote September the 19th, 1972, because that was the election that was determined to decide whether it would be an independent nation or not.
But read the faith that moves the mountain.
So,
yeah, the next question.
So if Arthur Dion was involved in framing the Constitution,
yes,
he would have known that the position or the office of Deputy Prime Minister was unconstitutional, correct?
Let's put it this way. Some things perhaps were overlooked. See, the problem in our country is this, right? I wouldn't want to.
Okay, I'm going to hang up and listen.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
I wouldn't want to say what was in his mind at the point in time. But when you look at the document, see, another thing what I said to the many people is we don't have any written notes from the founding fathers. All right? And I am not going to fault them for that. I'm not going to say they were lazy, but I'll say this. We have the completed document. If they wrote notes, and some of them wrote some things, Sir Emmett Maynard, Sir Lyndon Pindling, Dame Dr. Doris Johnson, Sir Randall Fox, and others. They wrote notes, and they wrote information. All I'm simply saying is we have the real thing, the document called the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And there's nothing in that document that has any offer to say about Deputy Prime Minister.
I think for the sake of clarity, I think people confuse our system with, say, the system of the United States. In the United States, they vote for president and
vice president.
That vice president position comes along, that the person running for president chooses a running mate.
Yes.
And so you get a package deal when you vote for a particular party, which has the person who that party has ratified as the person who will become president should that party win the majority of electorate, what do you call them? So that system is set up so that they have a president and a deputy
vice president,
vice president written into that system. With us, we're not voting for a prime minister. We're voting for an individual who is representing a constituency.
Correct.
And the party that receives the most representatives, elected representatives, traditionally for us in our system, the person who leads that party becomes the chief prime minister, the prime of the ministers, or the chief minister of all the ministers.
That's correct.
Which is what we call the prime minister.
Yes.
And then he determines, okay, this is the person I want to be my second in command. If for any reason I have to travel or something, but that's not a constitutional position. That's what you're trying to explain, right?
That is correct. It's not. It never was. Because see, if something were to happen to the prime minister right now, the particular personality who carries the title, the title which is unconstitutional,
he doesn't automatically become prime minister.
He can't go nowhere.
Because that's not in our
Because
Constitution.
that's not in the Constitution. And there's a system in the Constitution, two things that can be done in relation to the office of prime minister. There's no such thing as no deputy prime minister. However, if in the situation where a political party doesn't command the majority of the members of the House of Assembly, let us say that the Governor General may have to make a determination on a particular individual, because that's in the Constitution as well. The leader of a political party that commands the majority of the members of that House. And number two, in the event that is not the case, because it could happen, the individual in the House of Assembly that commands the majority of the members of that House. So you have to be very specific, very clear. That's outlined in the Constitution. The Governor General has to be satisfied, because you can have a mixed-up situation where it just may be won by one vote, and they arguing and bickering and fighting over that, and he'd have to say, you fellas, hold on, go settle this. Because he will not appoint anyone in his judgment. He has to make a judgment to be prime minister, and he's not absolutely sure. The Governor General will not do that. He has a very responsible position. So he has to determine in his mind
that this person commands the majority of the members of that house. And they have to give him the proof that that is so.
Interesting. Okay, so let's get back to Article 15. What we've been talking about. We only have about 14 minutes left in the show. All right. So this says that that every person in the Bahamas is entitled to the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual. That is to say, has the right, whatever his race, place of origin, political opinions, color, creed, sex, but subject to respect for the rights and freedoms of others and for the public interest, to each of the following, namely. Now let's break these down.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Life.
Yeah. Okay,
liberty, security of person, and the protection of law. Life.
Let's deal with one at a time. See, the thing is, life is very important for an individual and even for a nation. You have a right to be alive, not dead. Because when you're dead, there's nothing happening. All right? Everything stops. The point is, that's why it says every person in the Bahamas has a right to live.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Right to life.
Right.
I mean, you ain't supposed to kill them.
Right.
That's what it's actually saying, in other words. Every person in the Bahamas has the right to life, to live, to be alive in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Now, some other things happen outside, but it ain't nothing to do with that. That's them other people. So life is very important. It's interesting that the Founding Fathers put life ahead of all the other things in Section 8. Because life is most important to each person, every individual, whether they be a citizen or not, whether they be an illegal alien or not. And I think sometimes people forget these clear-cut things that are mentioned in the Constitution. It doesn't say every citizen, every person. So even the fellow may be here illegally, he has a right to live, to life in the Bahamas. Now, some may have difficulty with that. Yes, that's what the Constitution says.
I mean, when somebody called this show a couple of weeks ago talking about we need to send them back and bind them. I said, no. We're talking about human beings here.
Yeah, you are.
Every human being, regardless of how you feel about them, has a right to life. You have no right to, So yeah, I get that. And I don't think anybody with right thinking minds will disagree with that. No matter how you feel about a particular people, they're still human beings.
They are human beings, yes. Human beings just like us. They need air, they need water, they need food, they need benefits and everything like that. Fine. So there's certain things that come along with the right to live, to life. And as Article points out, Section 8, not Article 8. Section 8 points out these things very specifically. And the first one is life, meaning that we have to help the fellow. If he's here illegally, we're not supposed to kill him. We're not supposed to starve him, or harm for that matter. He has the right to live in the Bahamas, even if he's here illegally.
Now, you need to explain that, Professor. He has a right to live in the Bahamas, even if he's here illegally.
I'm glad you asked.
Or he has a right to life while in the Bahamas, even if he's here illegally. It's a big English language. It's a funny thing.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm glad you said it.
You need to clarify that.
It needs to be clarified. No, you're correct. No, not living in the Bahamas permanently.
Yeah, see, you need to clarify.
No, it's a good point. I'm glad you brought it up. He has a right to life while he is here for that limited period of time to make sure that he is taken care of and then shipped out of the Bahamas as quickly as possible. Not that that individual should be here living continuously. That takes a different connotation. Life means to be alive. Okay? Not for him to be here permanently or for an indefinite period of time, and he's an illegal alien.
Now, this next one, we got to take a break.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. Yeah. Because the liberty one is another.
That's another one, yeah.
Can of worms.
Yes, ma'am.
That we need to clarify.
Yeah.
So people don't get mixed up. All right, let's take this break. Then we come back. We'll try to get through this in the last 10 minutes or so. Well, it'll be less than that because the break is going to take up a few minutes. So we'll see how far we get. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Blood sugar levels play a key role in your appetite, weight gain, and overall health. When you have a blood sugar spike, you can feel confused, dizzy, and even have increased cravings. Eating carbohydrates, sugary or fatty foods, and not exercising can all cause blood sugar spikes. But now you have help in managing blood sugar levels. Sweeties by Longevity was designed to help support healthy blood sugar levels so you can power through your day. It's a synergistic blend of minerals, herbs, and nutrients that have been proven to support healthy blood sugar levels. Sweeties includes chromium, an essential trace mineral that's known for its contribution to healthy blood sugar levels and improved metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Cinnamon bark has been included for its naturally occurring antioxidants and support of a healthy heart. And we've even added gymnema. It's been used in Ayurveda for centuries to help promote healthy blood sugar. All the ingredients in Sweeties work together to give the best support available for blood sugar control. Sweeties, the blood sugar support supplement from Longevity that helps control cravings and manage blood sugar levels through your day. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Even everyday exercise can lead to wear and tear on your body. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Longevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
All right, with the few minutes that we have left in the show, we have to talk about, let's try to get through this as quickly as we can. Everyone has the right to life. Everyone has a right to liberty.
Yes.
Now, what that mean?
That has to do with freedom.
Now, you see? Go ahead. I know we're going to get through this. We're going to pick up right here next week. Go ahead.
No, but see, the founding fathers wanted to be fair to everybody. So some things might appear to overlap. Freedom has to be afforded to people in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, right? Now, if a person violates the law, he still has certain things available to him. But those freedoms may be curtailed because of certain things that he would have done.
And that's where the public interest comes in.
That's where the public interest comes in. That's why it says public interest.
Mm-hmm.
The rights of others. See, I'm happy that you brought it up, Ms. Malcolm, because it says the rights of others. See, you're dealing with the individual now. We're dealing with the individual in these articles in here. Mm-hmm. This particular article. Life for the individual. Liberty for the individual, subject to. The freedoms are subject to the freedoms of others and the public interest.
Okay.
You see, so it may appear as if there's contradiction, but no, there's no contradiction there.
It is just that the rights of the particular individual, and he may be in a strong grouping of persons, may be very vocal, and they demand their rights, which they have a right to demand. We can't take that away from them because the Constitution says they can do it. But the thing is, that's why it says subject to. That means it has to be looked at in light of these freedoms that the illegal alien would have. It's not going to be that he just could go anywhere and do an act as he please. Not so at all. They have to be restricted. In fact, what we ought to be doing is fulfilling our responsibility as a nation to have that person arrested, brought before the courts, and dealt with quickly as possible. Okay? So liberty, freedom. That's why I said the fundamental rights and freedoms, more than one, of the individual. Okay? So we are free to have certain things. Talk about freedom of conscience. We're going to, of course, get to those specific things in further down. But what I'm saying is that it is good that we live in a sovereign, democratic, free state. A lot of people don't know how important that is. And the founding fathers made sure that they put it in writing, that these freedoms that you have, now it requires responsibility. Okay? You have to act a certain way. To guarantee these freedoms, you have to do some very specific things. Otherwise, you have chaos. We do not need chaos in this country. In fact, politically speaking, I believe the Bahamas is the only nation that I know of, and if there's anyone else out there who knows better, because I'm proud of this record, we don't even teach it. We don't even talk about it. From 1729, when the House of Assembly was set up, in September, that was my birth month, by the way. I think it's toward the end of September. And from 1729 right on up to the day, 2023, we have changed administration after administration without shedding one drop of blood. And Bahamians, you ought to be proud. See, America don't have that, you know. Even Great Britain don't have it. And some of these countries to the south of us don't have it. Now, we must be careful that that freedom, that political freedom is preserved, and it's because of the nature of the Bahamian people, not because of a political party. Let me make that very clear. Because we got some praying people in this country all the time when we were liberated, when Queen Victoria allowed slaves to be free. They didn't burn the man things down or rape his wife or steal his thing. They went right in that little church and they praised God. We always had that fear for God, the supremacy of God. That's why it's entrenched in the Constitution.
Professor, we out of time.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have to pick this up next
week.
Okay.
To
talk more about what this liberty looks like.
Yes, ma'am.
Just that's
a deep one.
Yeah.
That one deep.
We need some clarification on that and quick.
Yes, ma'am.
But I want to thank you so much for being here today, and God willing, we'll see you back here next week, Monday. To continue these classes.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, that's my time. I want to thank all of you who participated in the show in any which way. Tomorrow, we will have another exciting, thought-provoking show for you right here on Global 99.5 FM. Be sure to tune in then. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us on GPS. Have a good afternoon, everybody.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications.